At 44, Sasha risked her body to give her husband the child he suddenly could not live without. She endured needles, hormones, procedures, and fear because she believed she was fighting for their marriage. But her husband and her best friend knew something about that pregnancy Sasha did not. One medical test would reveal something that should have been impossible. And one lost family heirloom would prove they had betrayed the wrong woman. At 7 months pregnant, Sasha Bennett was carrying a folder toward an ordinary appointment when Derrick's voice stopped her cold. Through the half-open door, he said, "Sasha cannot know until the baby is here." Dr. Morrow spoke about collecting cord blood after delivery. Then Camille asked what would happen if Jonah needed more. Sasha's hand closed around her stomach. Jonah was Camille's son. Why were they discussing him like he had a claim on Sasha's baby? She pushed the door open and asked, "What am I not supposed to know?" 9 months earlier, Sasha and Derrick were celebrating 15 years of the marriage they had chosen. Careers, travel, freedom, and no children. Then Derrick reached across the anniversary table and said he wanted a baby. Sasha reminded him she was 44 and that child-free had been their agreement, not an accident. Derrick said he had changed and talked about legacy until his longing began to sound like her failure. Later, Camille told Sasha motherhood might be a chapter she had never known she wanted. Sasha finally said yes. IVF turned Sasha's body into a schedule. Medication before sunrise, blood tests between meetings, hormones, headaches, cramping, and appointments that swallowed entire days. Derrick kept saying they were doing it together, though together always seemed to happen to Sasha's body. The first retrieval failed, and Sasha wanted to stop. Camille held her while she cried and told her she was stronger than she knew. Sasha heard love. She missed Camille looking over her shoulder at Derrick and the tiny nod Derrick gave back. Then Dr. Morrow called them in with news. One embryo was suitable for transfer. Dr. Morrow presented the one embryo like a miracle. Sasha cried. Derrick closed his eyes. Camille looked relieved, and Sasha was too overwhelmed to wonder why. On transfer day, Sasha watched the monitor and trusted that the embryo entering her body had come from her own eggs. That belief held every other lie in place. 2 weeks later, the pregnancy test turned positive. Sasha folded into Derrick's arms, certain they had done it together. Derrick held her tightly, but the guilt on his face belonged to a man celebrating a very different success. 6.5 months into the pregnancy, Sasha opened Derrick's desk, looking for insurance paperwork. A photograph slid to the floor. Derrick, Camille, and Jonah outside a pediatric hospital. On the back, Daddy's brave boy. Camille had always said Jonah's father disappeared before birth. Sasha found 9 years of specialist bills, hospital payments, and school tuition tied to Derrick. Her phone vibrated with an unfamiliar number. She silenced it. Then Derrick appeared in the doorway. Sasha closed the drawer and said she was looking for the insurance card. They smiled. Neither believed the other. Sasha stopped trusting anyone connected to Derrick's clinic. She went to an independent maternal medicine specialist and asked whether the pregnancy could prove something had been switched. Days later, the result landed harder than anything she imagined. The fetal DNA showed no biological maternal relationship to Sasha. For a moment, the room disappeared. She had endured every injection, procedure, and fear believing this child began with her. it had not. The doctor could not identify the biological mother without another comparison sample. Sasha did not need that answer yet. She knew exactly where the people who had it were waiting. If you enjoy dramatic stories filled with secrets, betrayal, romance, suspense, and shocking endings, subscribe to the Storytelling Diva, because this story is only getting started. Back in the hospital room, Sasha told them the independent test had excluded her as the biological mother. Then she asked whose embryo they had placed inside her. Derrick said nothing. He looked at Camille. Sasha followed his eyes. Camille finally admitted the embryo was hers. 22 years of friendship collapsed in one word. Sasha looked from Camille to Derrick and asked whether Jonah was Derrick's son too. Neither answered. They did not have to. Derrick's silence confirmed the second betrayal. Then Camille gave Sasha the reason. Jonah had a serious blood disorder, and no suitable transplant donor had been found. Derrick and Camille created embryos, and Dr. Morrow helped select one with the strongest chance of becoming a compatible sibling donor. Camille could not safely carry another pregnancy, so they chose Sasha. Derrick insisted he was trying to save his son. Sasha asked what saving Jonah had to do with stealing her choice. Derrick admitted he believed she would have said no. Sasha finally understood the deepest betrayal. Her refusal was exactly why consent mattered. Sasha left before Derrick could explain anything else. At home, the concierge handed her a secured parcel and said a woman had been trying to reach her all week. Sasha remembered the unknown call from Derrick's office. Inside the package were an antique emerald pendant and a faded photograph of a woman who looked startlingly like her. The same number called again. This time, Sasha answered. Attorney Elaine Porter said she represented the Vale estate, then gave Sasha a name she had never heard. Sasha Renee Vale. Elaine filled in Sasha's missing history. Her mother, Renee Vale, died shortly after giving birth, and during an inheritance fight, her infant daughter disappeared through a sealed adoption. The pendant, adoption records, and fresh DNA testing confirmed Sasha's identity. Renee's trust owned 48% of Vale Meridian Health, with enhanced family voting rights that gave Sasha majority shareholder control. Meridian Vale Fertility sat inside that system. Using the Vale voting control, Sasha and Elaine forced emergency board action, preserve every treatment record, suspend Dr. Morrow's system access pending independent investigation, and transfer Sasha's prenatal care outside the network. Derrick's belongings were packed when he made his last appeal. He reminded Sasha that Jonah was innocent. Sasha agreed. She would never punish a sick child for his parents' betrayal, but Amari would not enter the world already owing anyone pieces of her body. Camille arrived crying and asked Sasha to understand. Sasha finally named what Camille's comfort had been. Not friendship, but supervision of an unwilling surrogate. Then Sasha removed her wedding ring and placed it on the marble table. She ended 15 years without shouting, making one thing clear: compassion for Jonah did not erase what they had done. About 9 weeks later, Sasha delivered a baby girl and named her Amari Renee. Biology connected Amari to Derrick and Camille. Deception had made Sasha her gestational mother. Lawyers in the court would determine parentage, but no secret clinic agreement would control Amari's medical future. Jonah received another chance when an unrelated donor was found through the National Registry. Sasha quietly covered treatment costs insurance did not pay, not for Derrick or Camille, But for Jonah, Dr. Morrow faced professional investigation. Derrick lost his marriage. Camille lost the friend who had trusted her for 22 years. At sunrise, with Amari sleeping against her, Sasha understood what had been restored. Her name, her choice, her body, and her voice. No one would decide what her child's body was worth for her. If you enjoy dramatic stories filled with secrets, betrayal, romance, thrillers, and shocking endings, subscribe to The Storytelling Diva.